Welcome back to Credentialing Chronicles, where we spill the doctor's tea hotter than your morning coffee.
And give you the insider scoop on the wild worlds of credentialing, provider drama, and everything they don't teach you in med school.
I'm Shannen, and she's Nyleen, two credentialing pros with front row seats to the chaos, looking to make you a part of it. Yes, we want you to engage in spilling this tea with us. We need your love and likes, and we want to know what you think too. Look for us, please, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and yes, baby, even TikTok.
Yes, we love to see your love. From fraud scandals to burnout breakdowns and why your favorite surgeon might actually be banned from 5 hospitals.
Honey, we've got the gossip and the practical advice to keep you out of trouble and ahead of the game.
So grab your coffee, your compliance checklist, and maybe a lawyer, and let's get into it.
Imagine this. You're at the OBGYN appointment. It's a military hospital. It's sterile. It's safe. It's federally controlled.
Great.
You're undressed now from the waist down. A paper is draped over your knees. Stirrups cold against your skin, as we all know that feeling, correct? And the physician stands over you. A major girl, tan uniform, name badge, trust built in the very fabric of his presence. You there? Are we there? Are we there,
I'm here.
audience?
I'm visualized. Yes, I am there.
But what you all don't know is that the phone he just positioned under the tray isn't there for charting you all. It's recording you.
That's crazy. Well, today we're talking about the OBGYN. Another one, Shannen.
Another?
Another OBGYN, an Army OBGYN that is accused of secretly filming women during pelvic and breast exams at Fort Hood.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that should make everyone listening sick is that the allegations, the complaints, they did not start in Fort Hood. No. Now, the Fort Hood is in Texas. You explain to me, right? Fort Hood, we're visualizing. No, they started over the water in Hawaii. Years before he ever walked into Fort Hood. This isn't one doctor, Shannen. This is a system failure.
Well, welcome back to Credentialing Chronicles, everyone. Ooh, where we dig into these stories. Medical institutions, federal agencies would pay to keep buried and for you literally not to hear.
Yeah, where we don't sugarcoat, soften, or sanitize because patient safety doesn't need polite whispering, okay? It needs headlights.
Let's just talk about the facts, right? What do we know? We know Tripler Army Medical Center in Honolulu is what you were talking about when we say coming from Hawaii. Okay, so check. We know the Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center in Fort Hood, Killeen.
Okay.
We know that there were multiple complaints, right, across both centers.
Yes.
There was actually a CID investigation, which is the Criminal Police Officer People Unit in the military, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Screenshots were pulled literally from this man's phone. Okay, the doctor's phone, literally, this is what was on it. Women were notified years. They went back so many years after examinations to see. And 45 known victims came out. And Nyleen, they think there's more. Literally.
Oh my goodness. So if you work in credentialing, if you work in privileging, if you work in the military, women in our military, if you work in military medical area, if you are a credentialer for the military, okay, this episode will feel like whiplash and deja vu because we've seen this pattern before.
And I feel like we're going to say things that the people that work in those areas that you mentioned, Nyleen, have been saying all along. And I feel like we're going to say it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about this doctor. First of all, side note, neither you or I have credentialed this doctor.
No, we have not. No, we have not. And don't want him near us.
Nope. Nope. So we're going to build the bio of this doctor. He was a major. He's an OBGYN. He was commissioned Army physician. He was not some rogue civilian slipping under the radar. He was, now this is a key word, Shannen, as we investigated for this episode. He was federal. And that's going to come into play when we review his license. Yeah.
Okay.
He was credentialed with the Army. He was sent through training pipelines, and we assume that it had already weeded out any predators. Because if you're trying to apply for a job in the military in any kind of way, those screenings must be. So Shannen, share with us the timeline. So tell us what's going on with the timeline.
Well, I was just thinking about the screening. I mean, I can't even get on a plane, without all my identity. They want to biomatrix me right now. I got to get clear air, and he's just moving between the facilities, so that's what I was thinking about. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about the timeline, right? So 2019 to 2020, he is an OBGYN intern at
fresh.
He got caught up early, and I'm so happy.
Thank goodness. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tripler Army Medical Center. This was the Army base out in Hawaii, in Honolulu. Okay, so 2020 to 2023, honey, completed his residency. Same place. Okay. 2023 and onward, he went over to Fort Hood. Okay.
In Texas.
And he's in Texas now. And so, and I guess that's, where this is all exploded.
Blowing up. So that first location matters because according to the lawsuit, complaints actually began while he was in Hawaii because women had already reported discomfort. So thank you to those women that did report it because now there's documentation of that. So some said that they actually saw the phone pointed at them. And then at least one had complained she believed he recorded her during a pelvic exam. And you know when you can feel people watching you?
You can feel it.
You can feel it. You can feel somebody's looking at you. You can feel you're walking down the street. You get that gut feeling, So she had that, right? And so what do you think leadership allegedly did? What do you think they did?
Nyleen, I'm scared to ask. I mean, they laughed, right? I mean, they dismissed it. They told the women they were mistaken. This could never be this man. Their feelings were crazy, right? And they, the bigger thing is they allowed him to keep practicing, Nyleen.
Unbelievable. So the lawsuit calls it a known pattern. Oh, that means it was done a whole lot more than just once. It wasn't an isolated incident, not misunderstood, sir or ma'am. We are not understood. It was a pattern. And then what does he do? Boom, transfers to Texas at Fort Hood. Guess what? Do you think that they changed? Do you think his patterns changed? Shoot, I got away with it this long, right? So what does he do in Fort Hood? Allegations intensified. What happened? Patients started saying, wait, I'm getting an unnecessary breast and pelvic exam. Touches that were a little bit longer than they should be. Positioning his phone closer to their bodies. First of all, why do you even want your phone out? The only doctors that I have to compare it with, of course, are the doctors that I've worked with intimately in a room. I'm in the room with them. So I know the doctors that I work with, they don't even carry their phone. They leave it in their office, right? And if they bring in their phone, it goes on the counter or it's in their back pocket. I've never seen a doctor with his phone up here in the front. Never,
Nyleen.
They were feeling uneasy. They were unsure if they could even challenge a major, right? With a rank, with authority, and an Army clinic badge.
And there's a sentence from the lawsuit that literally freezes me because this petition alleges that a catastrophic failure of leadership that allowed a predator to operate with impunity inside a military hospital. And so, through his residency into practice, he just thought he was probably going to do this for the next 50 years. And you're saying in the pocket, I'm examining a woman's a body. The speculum is in. I mean, when you're in there, that could really be, imagine that footage.
No, I can't. And, here's where it gets worse. Because it's the attorney who filed the lawsuit says that over 45 women have already come forward. Over 45 women. A military official told NBC that at least 25 women contacted CID after images were found. Then you read the recovered phone findings, okay? So let's just read the recovered phone findings. Thousands of photographs and videos. Thousands, Shannon. Thousands of photographs and videos depicting scores of female patients. Multiple outlets, including The Guardian, law firm filings, local Texas and Hawaii media. So according to these media sources, they say that lawsuits and Army investigators allege that this doctor used his phone to covertly film vaginal and breast exams and other intimate gynecological procedures without the patient's consent.
Pattern. That's all we talk about on this show is pattern of behavior. It's not a moment of misconduct. And that's what people like to say. It's a moment of misconduct. No, honey, when it's years of misconduct, that is a pattern of behavior.
And the thing is, Hawaii wasn't just a footnote. Victims there say they asked to have spouses in the room.
Yes.
And right, because you're allowed to have whoever else you want in the room.
Whoever you want.
Right? I've had doctor's offices and they have another chair there for a loved one because I could be confused. I could be under medication and I need someone in the room. Let's just say, or you have an elderly patient, whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case.
Girl, he denied them. He left alone. So these patients were left alone, were left isolated in this room with a male OBGYN.
So what does that equal, right? Because we know that men that are like this, okay, I'm very sorry to say it, but we know that men are like this. They have the power, they have the control, and that's what this is about. The control. They've taken away the privacy of this individual. They locked him up alone. Remember the one doctor that actually stood in front of the door? Remember that you told me about?
From one of our other episodes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's opportunity. It's like this opportunity happens. They control it. They want the power. We see the formula every single time with this misconduct that happens and is thriving literally now more than ever.
So let's talk about how it broke open. So the dam didn't burst from leadership, which it should have, because they're the ones who are supposed to be looking at the pattern of behavior. This is why peer review is important. This is why peer review exists, right? The Army didn't uncover this through auditing, right? Through peer review. It started with one
patient complaints.
It started with one woman at Fort Hood. She noticed something off. The way that he angled the phone, the placement near the stirrup, and she reported it. So CID went ahead and seized his phone. And inside of it, now I'm curious to know, I wish I could find this woman and what her rank was because she deserves a medal. But anyway, she reported it. CID went ahead and seized his phone. And inside of it, they found all the screenshots, all the videos, appointments recorded, 3 days earlier. When she was shown images of her own pelvic exam, the lawsuit says that the images unmistakably depicted her body. Because, maybe there's a birthmark. Maybe there's, a little something.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine this? These women. And it's always against women. And she left the interview. She sat in her car and she cried, right? Not because she was filmed, but because she was handed a pamphlet, a generic one-sheet phone list. There's no trauma team when this happens to you. There's no advocate. There's just a pamphlet, right? That this is your case number. They write your case number on it. Here you go. And that's very sad. Because it's thank God that she spoke. Thank God.
And you can hear the betrayal in her statement, right? So her statement's it wasn't the act, right? It was the way they handled it afterwards, the indifference. And that's how you know that the system is broken. Not when a predator works, but when the victim is the one who walks out unsupported.
Well, let's drop something every credentialer needs to understand.
Oof.
Major McCraw was licensed in Hawaii. Okay. But practicing in Texas.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again. He was what?
He was licensed in Hawaii. So his license is in Hawaii with the medical board out there.
Uh-huh.
But he was practicing in Texas without a Texas license.
Without a Texas license. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we did some investigation, y'all. We did some investigation. Because guess what, guys? Remember I told you put a pin in that? Yeah. Because federal physicians, guys, military federal physicians only need one active unrestricted license under 10 U.S. Code 1094. Okay.
Exactly.
10 U.S. Code 1094. They can practice on any base nationwide. One license, 50 states.
One person monitoring. How does one office, one medical board in charge of monitoring a person all throughout the 50 states? Because the military's not doing it. The military's not doing it. And this is where the credentialing world screams internally, right? Because I know that this is a problem. A doctor with early complaints in Hawaii can now step onto Texas Fort Hood soil with zero Texas review. And the transfer isn't blocked. It's not reviewed. It's nothing. It's not even approved. Texas had nothing to do with it.
And if misconduct isn't formally documented, there's no NPDB report. There's no adverse action. There's no action on the license. That physician walks into a new hospital, into a new base with a clean sheet of paper.
Exactly. And you say it again, because then the victims in Texas never knew there were women in Hawaii across the ocean already warning. And that's heartbreak because there's no way to monitor that. And I think you need to tell the people. I'm sorry. I think you need to tell the people. Nyleen looks up everybody.
Yes, I do. I do.
What is the status of his license in Hawaii?
Active, unrestricted, clear, and free. And how do I know this? How do we verify our doctors for Credentialing Chronicles? So, you know us, we don't just read the headlines, we verify. So for this episode, I did what any MSP with a brain and Wi-Fi would do, is I pulled up Baton and ran everything we could find on this doctor.
Walk them through that. So what does that mean when you say verify? What does that mean? What does it look like behind the scenes? Baton, what are they doing? How are they helping you?
So Baton lets me see the puzzle in pieces the way that credentialers think. So I am able to put their name, full name, or just an NPI number, and the licensure state, all 50 states are verified in one full swoop. So I have the licensure state. I get to know every single license that he's ever held, when it was held, the dates and the timelines. And so what's crazy is when I pull it up, nothing happens, right? You just see all his licenses and it's clear and active. Yep, shows me when he was a resident, gives me the dates. And so what I loved is that we've been using Baton actually to research every episode for months now. Long before they became a sponsor, it was just the best tool for what we do. Robert, who's the CEO, is a genuine fan of the podcast and has now become officially a full supporter of the credentialing community and of Credentialing Chronicles. He's helped build some of the biggest credentialing companies in the space, and now he is building a tool to make credentialers' lives better. He wanted to sponsor us because he feels and believes truly in what we are doing. He believes we are saying what everyone has not been able to say. And so thanks to Baton, who gave us the skeleton and the dates and the roles and the license trails, the lawsuits, the media, and all of this information and accessibility. So if you want to find out more, you go to our website and you'll be able to look at Baton and the primary source verification tool that they have offered us. So, Shannen, the system failure saved this doctor. And we talked about the pattern. We talked about the license. We talked about him moving from one place to another. What other stories have you heard out of Fort Hood?
Oh, well, anybody that kind of researches Fort Hood, you know the story about Vanessa. She was in the military, came up missing, and while they were looking for her, they found another gentleman's body that had been told that he was AWOL, but he was never AWOL. He was killed, and his body was, disposed of. And then they finally did find Vanessa, thanks to her parents never giving up. And so, it's just, they have a history of a catastrophic failure of leadership. That's what they have a history of over at Fort Hood.
Exactly. So this isn't just about one predator, right? It's not just about one predator. It's about culture, silence, dismissal, the urge to protect the uniform instead of the patient. And listen to this line, from the lawsuit. It says, warnings were laughed off. Like, read that again. Sexual misconduct complaints were laughed off.
It's just, and then later, court filings show victims allegedly had to return to the same hospital for care, the same walls, the same waiting rooms, the same exam table, even the same room, and leadership gaslighting them about post alternatives. Because the military, the people that serve in our military, they are not allowed to go see any provider outside of the military. They are restricted under the TRICARE and all of that, the VAs that they go to. So, it's a very tight line that they have to walk. They don't have a lot of choice.
Right. So we talk about PTSD, and there's so many different ways of PTSD. So imagine walking back into the same building where your trauma happened, where your feelings of being violated happened because the Army gave you a pamphlet, laughed at, and the Army gave you a pamphlet and a phone number. That's not support. That's just pure abandonment.
Another press conference, they said it wasn't the act, it was the indifference, the silence. And it's just, this is what women are facing again and again.
Yeah, and exactly. One woman said, I trusted the Army with my health. I trusted him with my body, which is true. We go to the doctor. We trust them with our bodies that are most vulnerable. And then they're going to hand me a pamphlet? Like, really? So, that indifference line really, really haunts me, Shannon. It's just crazy. So what do patients need to know? We always bring it back. We have to bring it back to the patients, to the MSPs, to the physicians, Shannon. So let's talk a little bit about, I know you're such a big patient advocate.
I think we should just say, if you were treated at the Tripler Army Medical Center or the Carl Darnell Medical Center at Fort Hood between the years of 2019 or 2025 for the latter part, for the Fort Hood part, you may have been notified. If you haven't, you can definitely request your records in writing. You can ask whether you were treated by, Major McCraw. You can contact attorneys. You can always do that. They represent victims. I think we're going to list those in the show notes so that people can see them. You could definitely file a report with the CID or even the state board. Again, this doctor did not have a license in the Texas Medical Board, but that's kind of a problem. And then request transfer of your care if you did and you were seen by him to another provider or to an off-post provider if that's what you feel safest with.
Right. So you have the right to trauma-informed care. If you're a patient who's not a military patient and you feel this, you also have resources to say something, you're not overreacting. You are not a burden. You are not alone, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So MSPs. So let's talk a little bit to our MSPs, our military MSPs. Let's talk to you directly. You are operating in a system where rank outranks red flags. Unfortunately, risk can hide in rotation cycles. This doctor was only basically verified by one state licensing board, he still has a clear and active license to practice at. Okay, never had a license to practice in the state of Texas, never verified by the state of Texas. Yet we have a physician practicing in Texas. Okay, peer review committees lag behind PCS transfers, and internal politics can override the documentation. But MSPs, we are not paperwork clerks. You are memory. You are the firewall. If you hear a complaint, please document. Please ensure proper peer review is being done.
Like Nyleen is saying, credentialing isn't just renewal dates and privilege cards. I mean, it's not looking over case logs and, making sure that the BLS is updated. I mean, even though all of those small tasks do,
are important
and a part of the process, the bigger process, you all, is pattern recognition, right? Getting a peer reference. If a peer does not want to give a good reference or everything is unable to evaluate, questioning, calling that peer up, asking, escalations when leadership won't. I mean, really, if you see something, you hear complaints. I mean, you have to juggle that. And then insisting red flags don't get buried, because it seems like this was having red flags come out and that they kept burying them. And I feel like if you're a military MSP, oh man, Nyleen, they must have it so rough, because I mean, they're required to follow orders. They're required to, and so it really must put them in a very peculiar situation, right? Like, this one needs to be reviewed, but can I really cause attention to it? Oh, he's a major, he's a colonel, he's a sergeant. I mean, what else? Captain. They have a lot of titles. But yes, call attention. Even if it seems unpopular, call attention, say it, scream it, document it,
right,
and put it in your meeting minutes,
Exactly. So what's the Army saying? So we do have a little bit of an update. So in November, the Army stated that the doctor has been removed from patient care. Patient notification initiative is ongoing. Special Victims Council is assigned, and a dedicated support line is created. ABC World News Tonight even reported on this on November 21st and says that he remains suspended and patients have been contacted. So that is our update. This is national headlines, and I'm so glad that it did make national headlines and it was not buried. I think that is a step in the right direction, and it needs to be a call to action for state boards.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of the woman. Again, I'm just going to say, if you're listening to our episode, if somebody can forward it, however it gets to her, you just got to really be happy and proud of yourself, because you stopped a predator. This man would have been practicing 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, who knows? And you stopped him. You stopped him at year 6, boo. And so pat yourself on your back, give yourself a hug, and let that be a reminder to every other person, not just women, children, men. If you feel uncomfortable, say something, please.
Yes, Shen. So give us some final reflection points.
Not final reflection points, Nyleen. You're so funny.
Final reflection on this very dark episode.
It is a dark one. I mean, I don't know. I guess it just seems like violence in healthcare just does not always bleed, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing, I mean, sometimes it hides in electronic files, in transfers, in leaderships that scoff at warning signs, in telephones of nasty doctors. I mean, but what's done in the light, baby, what's done in the dark always comes to light, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yep. And every time oversight fails or you're laughed at, or we're the ones who pay for it. Women pay for it with their safety and their bodies.
I know that's right. So if you're hearing us, here we go. You need to share. Every MSP listening, you all should be liking, sharing, commenting. Comment the word MSP, comment the word Fort Hood, whatever, below, so we can, make sure that we're unified and understanding that MSPs are not clerical. You are a clinical protection. That's what I'm going to advocate for. I like that, clinical protection.
Yes. I love that. And, if you subscribe, share, and spread this episode, because you know what? Silence is going to protect the predators. So if you were treated in these areas, if you were ever treated by any OBGYN and felt uncomfortable, email, call, request your records. You need to be your own advocate, and we need your help to keep spreading the word, to continue to protect ourselves and our patients and just healthcare in general.
Amen, sister. Well, keep asking questions, keep documenting, keep protecting patients, and especially when the system won't. And we'll keep reporting.
Absolutely. So stay credentialed.
Not canceled.
Not canceled.
Bye. Woo, Whew, that was a whole lot of tea. Who knew doctors had more drama than reality TV?
And if you think that was wild, just wait till next week. We've got more stories, more scandals, and more credentialing chaos coming your way.
And if you love the tea, please don't keep it to yourself. Like to show us you're listening. Please comment and join the conversation, and follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, share so everyone else can sip with us.
Yeah, so see you next time on Credentialing Chronicles. Stay credentialed, not canceled.